Welcome to the Coach Shondell Show, our very first show. This will be a weekly thing that we will do on Facebook Live. Coach, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure to be here, Connor. Looking forward to a whole season worth of these.
Yeah, so this one we're going to start, obviously, talk about the season coming up. You guys start on Friday. First things first, though, congratulations on the 6-year extension. Saw that today. Very excited for you, and I'm sure there are Purdue fans all over the place are excited to see you on the sidelines.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that opportunity to be here at Purdue. Morgan Burke and Roger Blaylock took a real risk and had some vision to hire a guy out of high school to come to Purdue and attempt to try to turn around a program. And, you know, you get an extension when a couple of things happen. You have really, really fine players who commit to doing things the right way and having success, and we've been really lucky that we've had a boatload of those. And I owe so much of the success we've had here at Purdue to those players that took a chance on Purdue, especially those that took that chance when there were some lean years before that. And then I owe so much to the support that we have here at Purdue, from athletic directors Morgan Burke and now Mike Babinski, to sport administrators that we have had, which have been Roger Blaylock and now Calvin Williams, and certainly all the people that helped along the way. The West Lafayette and Lafayette community love volleyball. Carol Dewey started that way back when she built this program into one of the best in the country. And we're just hoping that we can, continue to move forward. We've got some really, really fine players on this team, some great recruits coming. We had a great weekend this past weekend where we had some key commitments of players coming. So we're very excited about the future of Purdue volleyball.
And you talked about it this past weekend. You guys had your scrimmage. Obviously, you're getting ready to start the season on Friday. What were your thoughts about the scrimmage as far as just some takeaways, good and bad?
Well, most of the takeaways this past Saturday were good. The week before, they weren't quite as positive. I didn't think we played at the level that we're capable of playing at, but certainly this past weekend, we matched up against a team that had 4 of our practice players on that squad, and of those 4, one's 6'6", one is 6'4". Those were both guys that were All-American, first-team All-Americans at the Club Nationals last spring, and then another 6'3" guy, and then a little ball control player. And I thought it was going to be a major challenge for us to, really compete with them if they would have gone full bore. But our squad played well. Our passing, our serve receive has been the real highlight of the season so far. It makes the world go around when you've got people passing the ball. Here's a shot of Ashley Evans, who is our 5th-year senior, who's doing a great job of setting. Here's a look at the kind of block that our kids were going up and playing against right there with Rob and Drew and Danielle Catino hitting the ball around them. Another player that's done a great job for us here this fall so far is Brooke Peters. Brooke is our libero. You'll see her on the near side in a gray jersey, and she has taken a huge step forward in her game that's really allowing us to do some things that maybe we weren't sure we'd be able to do at this point in time. Cracking the ball on the far side right there as freshman. She actually got blocked on that play, and there's Brooke Peters, number 3, passing. But Caitlin Newton, who's playing left side on the far side, has really, really been good for us as a freshman. And here's Azaria Stahl, the high flyer out of Elkhart, really ripping that ball. Again, gets a pretty good sized block. There's Carissa Damler, who's a senior out of Brownsburg that we really, really like, and it brings a lot of spunk and fire. Evans with the dump. Evans can be really good offensively, not to mention the fact that she's delivers the ball terrifically well. Here's the ball going outside again. And we set a lot of balls outside early in this match as if we didn't know that they had a 6'4" and a 6'6" block out there. But eventually we got back to running a little bit more sound offense. Here's a good look at what our front line might look like. Stahl on the outside, Scooby Catino right there in the middle hitting on the B set, getting the kill there, and then Sheridan Atkinson, number 16 on the right side. Athletically, physically, we are really good. Here's Blake Moeller coming around the horn. He's not going to get the ball because Evans dumps it down on that block of Newton and Rob St. Clair. Evans this time going to set the ball back behind. And here's 6 foot 5.5" Sheridan Atkinson bringing the heat against a big block as well. So there's a player I really like just past that ball. Boilermaker fans are going to love Jenna Otek. She was the Missouri State Player of the Year in high school last year. Broke some records in the state for most kills in a season. And she is going to be a ball control wizard for us. She's one of the best natural passers that has ever come into our gym as a Purdue Boilermaker. So really excited about her. She and Azaria and Brooke Peters Carissa Damler, Juliana Reisinger. Those 5 right now, with some help from Olivia Van Zelst, those are the 5 or 6 that are going to do the bulk of the passing for our team. As I mentioned earlier, passing makes the world go round. So if you can put that serve, pass that serve up to the setter, then you've got great success in what you're getting ready to do.
And when you look at the roster for this season, it's an interesting mix of, you've got a ton of experience, a lot of players who have played a lot for you in either their 3 or 4 years, but you also then you talked about a little bit, you've got a lot of freshmen, a lot of youth and inexperience. As a coach, how tough is it to kind of mesh that youth with the experience?
Well, that all depends on the characters that are playing for you. And quite frankly, it's been a treat. Our 4 freshmen have changed the culture of how we play because they've come in with just remarkable attitudes and behavior and work ethic and drive and desire and are so coachable. That on top of our veteran players coming back with another year of maturity, another year of hunger, 4 of them recognizing this is their last shot at glory. And so this has worked beautifully. This is as good of a chemistry team as we've had at this point in time in several years. And it needs to be, because we're putting some seniors on the floor that deserve to go out with great success. And they're going to dictate that. You know, it's going to be Evans and Catino, Stahl, and Damler that will really dictate how successful this team is.
We talked about the season opens up on Friday. You've got Oral Roberts in the morning, Cleveland State Friday night, and then you finish up the weekend with Alabama. Last year, you guys got off to a really good start in non-conference, and with the Big Ten being as tough as it is, how important is it for you to get the team off to a quick start in non-conference?
Well, it's a precarious sport, volleyball, because it comes down to the APR that dictates your success. It's a metric that the NCAA uses to determine how good you are. And it's not necessarily fair, but we all know what it is, and we all know what you need to do to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. And you have to win. You have to schedule really good teams, and you have to win. And if you do those things, you're going to be in great shape. So every match matters. And so Cleveland State, for example, it may not sound great to the novice fan because the name doesn't ring loud across America, but they're a great APR match because they're going to finish maybe 26-9 this season. That helps our APR. Oral Roberts is a team that's going to be above 500, not bad. Alabama comes in on Saturday for a feature match at 3 o'clock, and they're going to be well above 500. Alabama's been one of the better teams in the SEC conference over the last 6 or 7 seasons. But we need to win. We should go 3-0. If we come out and we really play well and continue to move forward as our team has in practice and our experienced players set the tone, then this should be a good weekend for us to get started.
And one of the things here with our Shondell show on Tuesday today, but it'll be on Mondays going forward, we want you guys to get involved. Send us questions. We're going to ask Coach. We're going to have Ashley Evans on later in the show. But, Coach, you talked about you want to go 3-0 in non-conference to start. But when you look at the Big Ten as a whole, once again, it's another stacked conference season. 8 teams in the top 25 preseason rankings. I know that for most coaches, the preseason rankings don't really mean anything because you haven't played any games yet. But if nothing else, it just shows what the rest of the country thinks of the conference. For you, how do you feel like your squad stacks up?
Hard to say exactly. I know how tough the league is. The Big Ten Conference is the beast of all leagues right now in NCAA volleyball. The 3 heavy hitters from a year ago, that would have been Nebraska, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, they all graduated some unbelievable players. They also have 3 of the best recruiting classes in America on their way, or already there, okay? So how well their young players evolve will have something to do with the success that those 3 schools have. Penn State returns every single player off of a team that may not have matched some of Penn State's standards last year, but was also the same team that was up 2-0 at Nebraska in the Sweet 16 and was serving match point for a sweep before Nebraska stormed back at home to win that. So Penn State, I think, is the favorite based on experience and reputation. Those other 3 that were in the top 4 all last season have to be given strong consideration. Then there's 5 or 6 more that I think belong in that group of 3 as well. That would be ourselves. It would be Ohio State, Michigan State. I'm forgetting somebody, but there's a lot of really good teams in this league. And it comes down to mental toughness. It comes down to how tough are you going to be, how big of a boy are you going to be from night to night. and how you respond to tough matches, and how hard you're going to work every day in practice, and are you going to stay healthy, and are you going to play as a team. So, it's impossible to predict how that's going to fall. But Penn State, I think, is the favorite to win it. But after that, it's a mashed potatoes type of situation. I mean, it's a lot of stuff just thrown into one clump, and we'll see what happens.
So then, we know a lot of the veterans on the team. Your Arizona Stalls, your Catinos.
Yeah.
Who, in your mind, is somebody for Purdue fans, an incoming player, either a redshirt or an incoming freshman?
I'm going to start with Blake Muller,
okay.
Who's not an incoming player. Blake started for us last year in the middle, but was a little bit of an unsung hero, was a redshirt freshman a year ago. She's now obviously a year older. Terrific volleyball athlete. I don't think a lot of people out there in the volleyball world recognize who she is and what she's capable of doing. With the loss, only graduation we had last year was Faye Adelaja. So she graduates. We've got to have a presence in the middle. And so Blake is going to have to step up and broaden her shoulders and get the job done in the middle. Aside from that, I mentioned Jenna Otek, who I think is going to be a terrific backcourt player for us. Brooke Peters, who I think has taken a huge step for us. Erin Williams is a transfer who will compete with Shavana Catino for one of the other middle hitting positions. And Erin is not very tall, but she flies. She's the best jumper we have on our team. And that's saying something, because we got some people who can get off the deck, but she can really fly. Caitlin Newton, who I mentioned briefly during the video highlights, hits the ball as hard as anybody we have ever had at Purdue University. Juliana Reisinger is a backcourt player out of Southern California that also can make a lot of defensive plays. So I think that it's going to be a great team effort. That's the only way you can be successful in this sport. It's not like you can feed the post, or you can have somebody take 35 shots during a game. So it'll be a great effort on our behalf, and I'm as excited as people like you and the rest of our fans are to see what happens when we put them out here under the TV lights on Friday morning.
And then, so one of the new additions to the court, the air conditioning. I'm sure somebody who spends a lot of time in here, you have to be really excited about that.
Well, I think the best part about the air conditioning, and again, it's not like people got to bring in a parka when they come into the confines of Holloway Gym, because it'll still be probably warmer than it will be cooler, but it's not going to be unbearable like it can be. A lot of our season ticket holders refuse to come in matches because of the heat. But what the favor of this now is that, number one, we can practice full throttle without stopping every 10 seconds and wiping up the floor for a minute, which really makes it difficult to train. And so now we're able to just practice, compete, train, and that's a great thing. And then another thing is it allows our fans to be able to come in here and watch Big Ten volleyball, all right, which is like a pro league. It's that good of a volleyball league, and watch it without the fear of having to sweat and be uncomfortable and having to call the paramedics. So those are all really good things that we have, and we're thankful for the opportunity to have the air. That I think will make a really big difference to the environment here of Holloway Gym.
Yeah, and if you haven't had the chance to get out here to this gymnasium to see a volleyball match, highly recommend it. It's one of the most electric atmospheres, not only at Purdue, but really just anywhere in sports. The
Big Ten Network loves to bring their cameras to this facility. They think it's ideal for women's volleyball. Every seat is close to the floor. There's not a bad seat in the house. We have 500 to 700 students every night, every match down at that end of the gym, rocking and rolling. The community fans are coming out. They're excited about this season, just as I am. I mean, everybody's excited. This is Catino, Stahl, Evans, and company. This is their year to get it done. And I think everybody believes in them like I do. So I think it will be a fun season for Boilermaker fans.
So, Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the first episode of what we hope will be a great season.
Well, we're looking forward to that, and I appreciate you stepping in here and taking the bull by the horns and getting this thing started.
Yep. So right now we're going to bring in Ashley Evans, and Coach is going to step off, get ready to start the season on Friday at 10:30 against Oral Roberts.
Rock on. Boiler up. Thank you. Good.
All right, now we're joined by Ashley Evans. She's a redshirt senior, a setter for the Boilermakers. Ashley, thanks for being our first guest.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully that's not too much pressure.
No.
So first things first, we're here in the gymnasium. Air conditioning in here now.
Mm-hmm.
How nice is that?
It's been very nice. We had a little issue with it during preseason, but I think we got that fixed. And it's been nice. We can definitely tell the environment is much cooler. And I think the biggest difference is without the AC, there's always like a really thin film on the floor that makes, slippery spots extra slippery and dangerous, and we don't really have that anymore, so that's been nice. I think we'll definitely appreciate it, and our fellow opponents will as well, but I think the people that will appreciate it the most are our fans who sit here night in and night after watching us, so it's for them mostly.
So redshirt senior, has it set in yet that this is the final go? There's no more after we get through December?
A little bit. I try not to think about it because this is just year 5. It may be the end, the bookend to all 5 years, but it's just a number to me that it is the 5th year. So knowing it's your last, you just try to cherish every moment, and it makes every moment that much more special. So I've thought about it, and it has hit me a little bit, but I don't think it'll really hit me until come January 1st when I won't be on the team anymore.
Has it been interesting to bring in the freshmen and some of the new kids? Even though it's not that much of an age gap, have there been things where like you kind of sit back and you're like, oh wow, like I've been here a while?
Yeah. Just the freshman class in general, it's probably our best freshman class we've had, just in terms of team chemistry and maturity and level-headedness and just work ethic and determination and just even level of volleyball, I think. And so seeing them kind of enter their journey, Caitlin Newton came early, so we got used to her. But having the rest come in the summer, seeing them enter this journey and kind of, it's reminiscing. It brings back a lot of memories how I was as a freshman and try, as a senior now, especially 5th year, I try and guide them in the right direction and just tell them, enjoy every moment because it goes by in a blink of an eye.
So then, one of the things that makes you unique, especially in the realm of athletics, is if I'm not mistaken, you're still doing engineering as your major. And anybody that's familiar with engineering knows that it's not a walk in the park.
Mm-hmm.
How tough is it to balance being a volleyball player, which as a Division I athlete, it's basically like having a full-time job, versus engineering, which is as tough of a major as there is anywhere?
Yeah, it's very tough. I can't, sugarcoat that at all or lie about that. It's been a very tough 4.5 years so far, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm challenged every second of every day, and that's what I love about it. And it pushes me from an engineering side and athletics side to just think critically every day and not just be challenged. And that's what I love about it, and it's very rewarding too.
So as we take a look here, getting ready to start the season on Friday, obviously it's important to start quickly in non-conference. But for you as a veteran, have you been able to kind of impose in the locker room, like, we need to come out on Friday and not be sluggish. We need to come out and start like you're playing the #1 team in the country? Yeah,
I think we've implemented that a little bit, but we just started school yesterday, so I think just getting our feet underneath us and kind of get the ball rolling of practice and school, I think maybe those speeches and kind of getting that talk in our head will start today as we start scouting for the weekend.
So as you get ready, your final campaign once again, as you look back on your first 4 years here, is there a moment that sticks out to you that, like, wow, that was really special in hindsight, or even just in the moment, like you realized, wow, this is really cool?
Yeah. When I think about that, the one thing that stands out to me is honestly when I first got here as a freshman, and I've told my mom this before and she'll get a kick out of this, but I still remember our first lifting session preseason my freshman year when I was dropped off 2 days earlier, and we were in Mullenkoff. And so in Mullenkoff, it's one weight room here on campus, and there's mirrors, in most of the walls in there. And I remember I've never done any Olympic lifts, any of the kind of lifting we do here, and I was being trained by one of the interns. And I remember looking up, and it sounds kind of weird and cliche, but it's a true moment for me. I remember like looking at the bar and then looking up and seeing Purdue Volleyball on my shirt, like reflecting in that mirror. And at that moment, I still remember like it was yesterday. It just hit me that I'm a part of something I've always dreamt of being a part of, and something that's bigger than myself, and that I love so much. And so that moment, I think back to that a lot, knowing that was the first time I was here, and just to kind of see how far I've come.
All right, so then a couple rapid fire questions. Excluding Holloway and Mackey, favorite place to play?
Favorite place to play? I would have to say Nebraska.
Okay.
The Devani Center is just incredible. having 8,000 people that cheer for both teams in a way. They just love volleyball. I'd have to say that.
Who's got the most rabid fan base? Is it Nebraska?
Yeah, I would say that. Mm-hmm.
Toughest either team or opponent that you've played in the 4 years?
Ooh, that's a tough question because anybody in the Big Ten is really good, but I would have to say it's probably a battle between Nebraska and Penn State.
And then who is the funniest person in the locker room? Somebody.
Hands down, Danielle Coutinho. Anything that comes out of that girl's mouth, you are guaranteed to laugh around her. And she keeps everything light and funny, and it's just a blessing to be able to play with her the past 4 years.
And then you have any good Coach Shondell stories that you can tell us?
Oh, man.
Appropriate,
maybe not specific stories, but he just has a lot of quirks, and he loves to get on you, and then you'll look at him, and he's just going like this, smiling in the background on the end of the court, whether it be in a match or practice. And I think just personally, what I love so much about Coach Shondell is he's so family-oriented, and he truly cares about each individual and each player as a person, more outside than the court than on.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on our first show. Best of luck to you throughout the season. Looking forward to hopefully seeing a really special season out of you and the team for your final year.
Thank you.
Once again, thank everybody for joining us on our first edition of the Shondell Show. We'll be back on Monday. Once again, you can catch the Boilermakers in action on Friday, both Friday morning against Oral Roberts and then Friday night against Cleveland State, and then rounding out the weekend, Saturday night against Alabama. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on Monday.